Hey, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, many in our state lost property, and the storms even claimed the lives of 5 people across the Midwest. Channel 8's Veronica Barreto is here in the studio with us and has the details of that story. Veronica?
Yeah, the storms brought winds, heavy rain, hail of all sizes. Before 2021, Nebraska had seen only 5 tornadoes in December, but that day the record was broken by far. Thursday marks 1 year since the derecho event impacted our state. 28 tornadoes were registered in Nebraska. The Lincoln Airport reported a 93-mile-per-hour wind gust. Angie McKeegan lives near Emerald, just west of Lincoln, and she remembers that day very well.
That was probably the scariest storm I've ever been in my life.
This is what she saw when the storm was over.
I opened the back door and could see the back garages and the pine tree that had fallen, and everything was just like everywhere in the driveway. It was just unbelievable.
After the storm, we interviewed Brad from Lincoln. Take a look at what the storm did to his home.
Never ever as scared in my life as I was yesterday. I never ever seen anything like that before.
Last year, viewers shared pictures and videos with us. From Beatrice, a viewer shared this video of the rain brought along with the storm. A family from Hickman shared this video. Their playset was blown over. Here's a video on how it looked outside our station near South 10th Street. Channel 8 meteorologist Malcolm Byron says events escalated quickly that day.
It was not just the severe weather that day, there was also blowing dust, record heat. Today's record high is 74 degrees. That was set back in 2021. In central and western Nebraska, there was snow. It was just a very impressive day all the way around.
But there is a challenge with events like this. A professor of meteorology with Iowa State University says since there is no formal definition, it is hard to study them.
We don't have anywhere that you can look and say, okay, where exactly were all the derechos in the last 20 years?
That is why the National Weather Service is working on having an official definition on the ratios. This will help Weather Service better communicate their impacts. Gala says with global warming, as temperatures get warmer, we might start seeing the ratios on unusual times of the year.
The big event we had in the Midwest, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa last December was certainly unusual. It was the first time a derecho ever happened in the entire U.S. in December.
Experts say there is still a lot of study that needs to be done in order to better understand the ratios. And they say it's uncertain when and how many we might see in the near future.
Yeah, Veronica, thank you for taking a look back on that day. You know, it's one that we all remember very well. I mean, it sounded like the roof of the station was going to come off.
Yeah, I remember we were in the newsroom. I started seeing debris flying around. I'm like, we should probably get video of this. Little did we know what it was going to turn into. But yeah, everything was going sideways, as you could see in that video. Veronica, you were working for another news entity at the time. You covered it as well, right?
Yeah, I was working at the Syracuse Unadilla area, and I saw a lot of places, a lot of houses that were affected by trees that came down because of the effects.
And with that 93-mile-an-hour wind at the airport, that's category 1 for a hurricane right around there. So, all right, Veronica, thank you so much for bringing us that story. Speaking of